and a privilege to be here with you today. Here at the Boss Up Expo, Gas House Edition. I kind of like it, Gas House Edition. It's here at the Gas House where we are going to fill up today. I have one goal, and that goal is to inspire and encourage you to put your foot on the gas as we go along this journey. I want to talk to you today about becoming a better you. Becoming a better you, it is definitely a process. You can even say that it's a journey. Think about it. How many, right now it is 2021. How many of you are different than you were, just a year ago? I know I am, right? For me, April the 3rd, 2020, I had maybe forcefully, I had instantly become a full-time domestic goddess, teacher, principal, probably caretaker. I definitely was a nurse and a therapist, writer, editor, and of course, now my full-time 9 to 5, I found myself working it remotely. Just like all of you, I donned a mask everywhere I went. I washed my hands, probably compulsively. I stood 6 feet away from those that are around me, and oh my gosh, I was absolutely baffled at the shortage of toilet paper. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Does COVID-19 give like explosive diarrhea or something? What is going on? I won't even tell you the things that I began to feel, or the emotional roller coaster that I felt as I watched our businesses begin to struggle, hanging on by a string. Some of them have to close their doors altogether. And speaking of roller coaster emotions, during this time, I also had to deal with racism on the front line, the reasons behind Black Lives Matter, and we cannot forget this whole, oh my gosh, stressful yet historical run to the White House. Without a doubt, I changed and I evolved. We all change. It's inevitable. We all change. But during this time, I had to figure out, how am I going to get through this? Because it kind of took me by storm. I didn't know what the heck was going on. In the journey to becoming a better you, how do we do it? I had to hire a life coach to help me through the process. And so I'm going to share a couple of things that I learned along the way. In the journey to becoming a better you, there are 3 things I discovered that we need to do. Number 1, we need to go back to the basics, y'all. Number 2, we need to discover or revisit our whys. And number 3, we need to determine, how do we want to show up? Now, the onset of this whole entire COVID pandemic, it threw me for a loop. I gotta admit, I had recently relocated to the Charlotte area from Atlanta. I had settled in my new home. My children were situated in their new schools and, adjusting. The 9 to 5, I was all in there, ready to go. I was simply waiting for spring and warmer weather so that I could get out here and explore and see all that Charlotte had to offer. Let me give you a little backstory. In 2016, I was busy working my side hustle as an editor. Basically, I work with indie authors and I just made their books pop and ready to be published. A writer myself, I always knew that I had to write my story. But I put it on hold for years until 2016. In 2016, I was working for this company and they did a massive layoff. Maybe about 300 to 500 people. Huge, yeah. I was one of the lucky 500. Oh my goodness, let me tell you. I worked at a call center, first of all. I don't know if you've ever worked at a call center, but let me tell you, I worked at a call center for a cable company, and I literally got cussed out every single day. Now, you know how sometimes we call up a cable company and we showing out a little bit, you know, why my bill so high? Yeah, about time y'all answer the phone. Let me speak to your supervisor. Anyway, this layoff was actually a blessing in disguise. I walked away with a nice little severance package and I had extra time on my hands. So, I wrote my story, the one God instructed me to write mine. But the writing process, it was a little bit of a challenge because I would write and then I'd stop and cry. I'd write some more and then I'd stop to reflect, revisit some painful truths, some hurts. I'd write and I'd stop and I would laugh. I'd write and I'd stop and pray. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote until God said, stop. The name of my book, is From the Pole to the Pulpit. And it is my story. And it's the story that God told me to share. During the time that I wrote this, during the time that I was experiencing this book, because this is a story about the time that I spent in my life in adult entertainment as an exotic dancer. Y'all know what that is. Now I know we say, oh well, you did it for this and you did it for that. There's all sorts of excuses. I wrote it in the book, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying, it is what it is. I did it and I wrote it. I was transparent in here. I didn't spare any details because I had to let people know what it was like for me working in a sex-based industry. I had to talk about how I was depressed, how my mindset was just sad. I didn't hide it. I shared the truth because I know my truth will get someone else unstuck like I was. I also shared in there God's redemptive plan for my life and how His love absolutely came and caught a hold of me and saved me. Anyway, here I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, waiting for the spring to get out here and do my thing. But y'all already know what happened. Coronavirus. Oh, she stopped all of that. Corona wasn't playing around. Charlotte just shut down. And as Charlotte shut down, I shut down. The basics for me was to take advantage of all this free time I had, you know? So during this downtime, I decided, girl, you better get your business affairs in order. During the time that I wrote this book, and after I wrote this book, let me tell you some of the things that God kind of did in the process. Let you know that I could not stop. I wrote this book out of obedience. Before I knew it, before I realized what was going on and what was happening, I was being invited to be interviewed. I'm like, okay. Next thing you know, I had been invited to be on TV and radio. I'm like, okay. All right, God, I see you. And then I was in different types of magazines, and I even wrote a one-act stage play based on my book, and it sold out for 6 shows, packed house, standing room only. So when I said I came to Charlotte and I had to get some things done, God had opened up too many doors, and I said, okay, I can't allow myself to be stuck. And that's exactly what I was feeling. I felt stuck. This whole pandemic, all of these emotional things going on, I felt stuck. And I hadn't been in that place in a very long time. I had to ask myself a few questions. You know, we have to go to our why. Why did you start your business in the first place? Why do people need what it is that you have to offer? Revisiting my why, it allowed me to connect to what it was that I was passionate about. Just a few weeks ago, I was told that I needed to write my personal purpose statement. And because I've been revisiting my why, of course, you know, I was able to do this. My personal purpose statement, I want to live my life not only authentically, unapologetically, purpose-focused, but I want to be able to show others how they can become a better version of themselves and reach and discover their God-given purpose too. When you connect to your why, it ignites that passion for what you do. This isn't for the light. Your purpose is real. Your purpose is real. And during all of this time that I found myself stuck, all of a sudden I felt like I was being depressed. There was only one thing that I knew. One thing that I knew to be true. There was no way on God's green earth I was going to allow the enemy to come and steal and take what God had poured into me. There's too much to do. Becoming a better you, it is a journey. So, we have to go back to the basics sometimes. Think about where you are, where's your business, what you need done, what you gotta do. You may have to go back to the basics. What does your basics look like? You have to ask your why. Why am I doing this? What's it for? Your why is going to connect you back to your purpose. It's going to put that passion back in there. So you won't find yourself kind of stuck or depressed like, woe is me. And you know, we also have to get to a point where we are simply having to have the opportunity to determine, how do I want to show up? How do you want to show up? That's a very, very important question. A few weeks ago, I was invited to attend the Charlotte Businesswoman of the Year event. And it was really cool. It was out in Truistville, and I had the opportunity to just kind of be outside anyway, I listened to all of the colleagues of the honoree, and they were telling stories about her, but what stood out were all of the colorful adjectives. Now, maybe it's because, you know, my love language is words of affirmation, but all of these colorful adjectives, I'm talking about servant leader, relentless, inspiring, and it just made me think about how do we want to show up, because how we want to show up, it determines how others, our customers, people that are in our circle, people that love us, how we think of ourselves is how they connect. What do you think about your business? Oh my gosh, how do you want to show up for your business? A business full of excellence, dynamic customer service. I connect people. I help people. Helpful. What does your business look like? How do you want to show up? How do you want to show up in your personal life? Studious, smart, beautiful, helpful, friendly, loving, loyal, all of the colorful adjectives. We get those three things together. Go back to the basics, bosses. Revisit your whys and determine how you want to show up. I'm here to tell you right now, there is no better time than right now to put your foot on the gas, pedal to the metal, bosses, and go. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Are there any questions?
That's your first book?
This is my first book.
You gonna pull up part 2?
I probably won't do part 2, but I am in the process of writing a fictional. Right now, lately, what I've been doing is a whole bunch of editing. I've been editing for years. So I have lots of authors, and I help publish their works. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of writing. I also do a magazine editing. So I'm an co-editor for a magazine. And so I stay busy. I'm always writing. And it's funny too, because when people think of editing, they just think that you're going in there, you know, you're making punctuations and, you know, grammar checks. But as a writer and an editor, it kind of goes hand in hand. Because when I get the manuscript of my authors, it don't look anything like the finished product, that's for sure. Not just the appearance, but just the words. I help with flow and clarity. So I'm always writing, every day.
So you know somebody publish books, like you got the book, gotta type,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I do. I do a lot of book coaching. That's what I call it, book coaching. So I sit down one-on-one, we discuss your project, what it is that you have, and then we take the steps to get published. And I specialize in helping indie authors, meaning independent authors. So people that are out there that's willing to put in a little bit of work, and I help them to self-publish. You know, might as well keep some of those coins for yourself. Yeah. But I do almost all things writing. So I know lots of people, to include grant writers. So yeah. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, comments? All right. Thank you so much for your time, bosses. And I do have books available if you want to purchase. And I also have my God Purpose teas. I think I might have a couple of those left. But I thank